You know, replacing a composition shingle roof like this one is a job that most of us do-it-yourselfers would think twice about taking on. But tackling a tar and gravel roof like the one we're standing on is a job that most of us definitely would call a professional for. Well, that is until now. We discovered a new process and a new product that enables do-it-yourselfers to redo tar and gravel roofs like this on their own. I'd like you to meet Rick. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Ron, fine, thank you.
You're gonna tackle this job by yourself rather than have somebody else do it. Why?
Well, basically, it's economics. We're saving some money on it. If we figure that we save somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000.
Okay, well, that sort of makes it worth it. All right, now the first thing you're doing here is taking off all this loose rock, right? Okay. And this is a tool, by the way, that you may not have seen before. It's called a spudding tool. It's a heavy-duty scraper, and you're going through and taking this off. Now, you were saying earlier you found that if you do this, you want to do it during the cool part of the day.
Yeah, right? You do it during the morning hours when it's cool. The roof is still cool from the nighttime. Once it heats up, it's very, very difficult to do.
Okay. And then after you've taken the bulk of it off with this, then you're going to come back and sweep off with a stiff broom.
Sweep it off with a stiff broom, vacuum the dust up, and get it ready for the base prep.
Okay, and then vacuum it. And then you went out and rented a section chute so that you could actually just get this down to the ground level very simply. Exactly. Okay, great. Well, we've gotten most of the loose rock off the roof except for right around the base of some of these vents here. Now, I'm applying a material that the manufacturer calls Mucky Puck, and it's really a thick filler caulk. It's going to fill in these rough areas here where we couldn't get all these stones off. This system is actually kind of interesting. It's a water-based polymer. It's made up of about 4 components. This Mucky Puck or filler that I've just been using here, a penetrating sealer, a reflective top coat, and a reinforcing fabric. Now, in a moment, I'm going to show you how all of these work. But before we go any further, we've got to seal up some other problem areas in the roof. The filling compound should be used to fill any cracks or holes in the corner of the roof, to seal the joint between the metal edge flashing in the old roof, and to fill and level any other holes or irregularities. Finally, we've stripped off the loose roofing material on this skylight curb right here and spread on a medium to thin coat of the filler, or as the manufacturer calls it, Mucky Puck. We've completed all of our prep work here, and it's time to put on the second component. Now, this is called a penetrating sealer. This is actually the heart of the system. It does 2 things. It's going to bond to the old roofing down here, and it's going to provide that waterproof membrane to keep water from going through the roof. Now, I'm going to apply this with a long nap roller. This is about 1.5 inch nap. I'm just dip this right into the material to get it well saturated, and I'm going to begin by putting a thin stripe right over here at the edge. I want to do this very liberally. Now, we don't want to try to stretch this out. The idea is to put down a nice wet coat. Now, this is the third component in the system. It's a polyester fabric. Now, while the penetrating base coat that we just put down is going to give us our waterproof membrane, this is going to give us what the chemists call structural integrity. It's sort of like the fiber in fiberglass, or the mesh in fiberglass. We're going to lay this right into that coat that we put down, and we're going to take a brush dipped in that same base coat and kind of saturate this cloth. At this point, use your brush to push out any air bubbles that might be trapped underneath the fabric. With a starter strip down here, what we're going to do is roll this fabric back up a little bit. Okay, Rick, go ahead. Rick's going to apply now some more of the penetrating base coat. And it's a good idea, by the way, at this point to sort of put the roller down in the center of the strip here and pull it or push it out to the edges. That distributes the liquid a little more evenly and a little more thickly. Now, next step, we're going to unroll the fabric into that base coat that we just put down, just like so. And this time, instead of using the brushes, we're going to use the roller on top. And again, the idea is to saturate that cloth, work that base coat all the way through, and at the same time, pull out any air bubbles. Now, we're starting our second strip right here. We're overlapping that first strip by just about 2 inches. We've put down our starter strip, so we can go ahead and roll this out. Okay, Rick, if you want to start rolling on top of that. Okay, and then we'll just work ourselves right down the roof here with the second strip, the same way we did our first one. As a matter of fact, Rick can go ahead now and work this one. I'll go back over here, and we'll just continue right on across the roof. Now, with 2 people working in tandem like this, the job actually goes pretty fast. This, by the way, is Susan, Rick's wife. And what you end up with here is a roof that's relatively thin, actually only about the thickness of a dime, and very lightweight. But I have the feeling we're going to have a roof that's also very tough and very resistant to water. Well, we finished putting our penetrating base coat down here, let it dry overnight so we could walk on it now. It's time to deal with this parapet right here. We're going to cut a long strip of this fabric to go on that. And here's an easy way to do it. Just take the roll, and I've marked the width here, and a hacksaw, and we'll just cut the end of it off just like so. Now, the first thing we want to do here is put some more of our base coat on the parapet. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, Rick. Rick's going to lay the fabric now into that base coat. I'm going to come behind him and put some more penetrating base on top of that fabric, just like we did on the deck, and work it in. Now, on any roofing job, it's very important to get a good seal around vents, chimneys, anything that penetrates through the roof membrane. So what we're doing right here now is putting down another base coat. We've cut some of this fabric into a narrow strip about 2 inches wide, and we're going to lay that on the, in this case, the vent pipe, let it come down, flare out onto the deck, and then again saturate that material. Now, we've done several of these. The idea is that we want to overlap each one about a ½ an inch on top of the one next to it. Next, we'll take about a 6 or 7 inch wide strip of that same fabric and wrap it right around the tops of those narrower strips that we put on earlier. And finally, we've taken a couple of rectangular shaped pieces of fabric, cut a half circle out of them, and we're going to apply those right to the base. Now, we've already put the one down over here. This is the second one. We've got a nice wet coat of penetrating base down, and again, we'll take our brushes and saturate this to make a good seal. Now, on the skylight curb here, we've cut what essentially is a skirt, which is wrapping around the curb. And when we get to the corner right here, we've made a little cut down here. So we want to wrap this around this outside corner, and then once again, apply a good heavy coat of the penetrating sealer on top. Now, as we work our way around the curb here, we're going to overlap our corners, one section on top of the other. You know, not only does this material have a good bond to the old tar and gravel down here, but it's acidic, which causes it to etch itself into the metal, creating also a good bond to this metal cap up here. Well, we're up to our final step now. We're putting down a white reflective coating. Now, the purpose of this is to reflect light and heat. And it's quite amazing because the surface temperature of this roof right here, once we get this coating on, can be 50 or 60 degrees less than a conventional tar and gravel surface. Again, all we have to do is dip the roller in this and spread it out. Well, this is Ian Orenstein. He actually invented this MiraSeal roofing system. Ian, how you doing?
How you doing, Ron?
Here. First of all, what's the longevity of a roof like this, and how does it compare to a conventional tar and gravel or built-up roof?
I would say it's between 2 to 3 times longer life cycle than a conventional roofing system.
Now, today we applied this on a tar and gravel roof, a built-up roof. Can it be used on other types of roofs?
Absolutely. It's excellent on metal, as you saw today. You could use it for metal roofs, you could use it for mobile home roofs, you could even use it on shingle roofs and even concrete, directly onto the concrete.